We are indeed so back. It is the end of the week for me in a lovely, like 7:51 in the PM, and I'm doing quite fine. And yeah, it's the time for the fragrance rotation. It was a kind of a meh week. I mean, I did, not really celebrate, but kind of, got together with the family for a nice dinner over Shavuot, which is a Jewish holiday for those of you unfamiliar. And yeah, it was a very nice week. I did meet a lovely Japanese gentleman who is studying at the university which I go to, and I did, get acquainted with him. And yeah, it's a really nice dude. I won't name him because, like, God, I respect people's privacy. And yeah, with that out of the way, we'll get to my sentence of the day at the end of this video, and we'll start where we always start. It's where Mitch ends his videos, but I start them the Sunday I wore vial number 14 from the I don't know if you can see it. Doesn't matter. It's vial number 14 from the Salon Pasha sample set. Am Sombre. And it is a very Middle Eastern incense fragrance which smells like it emits a lot of wet heat. Like, it's as much desert air as it is, like, I say, sauna stones. It's a really kind of deep, evocative image where I just get sauna stones, and yep, that's just it. And yeah, there's really not much else I can say. It's just a really good, kind of slightly saffrony, Middle Eastern incense fragrance. People say frankincense, I think, because this, if you don't know the story, is Salon Pasha's take on a discontinued amouage attar called Tribute. So you could say this is his tribute to Tribute, and many people have probably made this joke way before I have. So yeah, this makes me curious about Tribute, but not too curious, because I don't really gravitate towards Salon Pasha's more Middle Eastern leaning releases. While I do respect them and the craft that goes behind them, and like, I'm not averse to Pasha's more Middle Eastern ventures, I just would much rather gravitate towards something, in his more Occidental attars, Histoire, L'Heure d'Or, Quirina, incredible. I need to wear that more. I might be the one I'm getting a bottle of. We don't know, but it's in the running. Chypre Narcisse as well. Chypre Chrysanthème, a little bit less, but still very respectable. Actually, there is one which is kind of Middle Eastern, which I like, which is Basmati Rose. I'm saying kind of because it's more Indian than Middle Eastern, but it is very well, not Indian, more like kind of, South Asian, more like, because I think Salman Pasha is Pakistani, or at least a Muslim Indian. In not, of course, he's absolutely like English. He lives in the UK. Like, in terms of like where his ancestry originates is probably in that kind of either Pakistan or the Muslim regions of India. Again, if I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments. I do not want to get this wrong in the slightest. I'm just kind of going off and respectfully seeing, okay? But yeah, Am Sombre is while it is a very big and austere fragrance. It is still Middle Eastern, and so not really what I go with. Yeah, that was Sunday. On Monday, one of the classics. It's L'Heure Bleue from Guerlain. Yeah, there's again. If you thought I had nothing to say about this, there's nothing I can say about this. It's just, it has been done to death in terms of like what people have said about it. It's this kind of cold, almost kind of snowy cold floral fragrance. I'm saying snowy cold because there's this kind of classical powderiness about it, and with this coldness, it kind of creates what I associate as like a perfume snow, and it's very much aldehydic, or at least kind of stuffy floral, bouquet-like, but it's all very dark flowers. I've said many times it's like a downtrodden, high society woman, maybe in like late 19th century, early 20th century. Like, I don't know, maybe she got her arranged dance partner didn't show up to the ball, or she had a death in the family, God forbid, and she's crying, and she's this austere, she's beautiful, she doesn't have an ugly cry. This is an ugly cry. It's very beautiful. Even if she cries, you stand from a distance and admire her, because you're, I know, a pauper, and she's over there with that life. Yeah, that's L'Heure Bleue. Pretty sure it's the Eau de Toilette, but don't but don't quote me on that. But don't quote me on that. Do not quote me on that, please. So yeah, that's that. On Tuesday, we wore the black sheep of the miniatures collection, Dunhill Edition. This is, of course, a men's release, and it is in that, barbershop kind of fougère, genre. But it's just, there's this kind of texture thing going on in this, in Dunhill's edition that it just, I don't enjoy. It's this kind of creaminess that is almost muddy to my nose, which I don't appreciate that much. I'll wear it, and sometimes I do kind of tolerate its presence on my skin, but overall it's a kind of neutral thumb, maybe leaning slightly more towards the thumbs down region. And then we had Wednesday. It's Nisbergam. I trained. I smelled good. Citrus soap. Incredible. Costs a stupidly reasonable amount, like $75 for this huge number. But I did get a huge discount because one of the supplier or warehouse people just misplaced a 0 and sent me 100 when I bought a 10 ml, which is great, and thank you for that, Essential Performance team. I don't know if I will get a 100 ml of anything from you guys next time, not because I don't enjoy your scent, it's because I don't need 100 ml, especially now that I have a somewhat similar, I have something that occupies the kind of fresh niche, in a much larger volume than this. I'm of course talking about Azzaro Pour Homme. But yeah, that's that. And then on Thursday, I wore the Cendre from Hugin's brand Les Abstraits. Works with Antoine Lieu, the man, the myth, the legend behind Sécrétion Magnifique. Whatever you'll say about that, it is in fact something I have not smelled, so I won't comment on it. But I do know the horror stories about Sécrétion Magnifique. But the Cendre is nowhere near Sécrétion Magnifique in its, experimental factor. It's a deep kind of call to the forest green, hugely pine-like resin with the kind of background brush stroke of this ashen, this ashen coating, this ashen backbone. The construction here feels airy, but in a very grim sense. I did say that all of Hugin's, perfumes, his brand's perfumes, Antoine's perfumes under Eugene's briefs, I'll say it like that, they're all very kind of still. They're not linear, because that's a bad thing. They're very still. As big and kind of refined as they are, La Douleur Exquise with the kind of bloody rose, with Belhomme's kind of faint glow of purple, and the Cendre's kind of green and gray interplay. They don't really change drastically enough to where I can't recognize what this had in the opening in the dry down. It still very much has that exact same feeling. It's almost as if you're getting a guided tour within the same picture, or at least you feel as though this really doesn't change. You're stuck with this vast, beautiful painting, and you're there witnessing the painting. I know it's a bit ESL, but trust me, witness is a great word here, because you aren't really in control. You don't view the painting, you aren't criticizing it. It's not under your control. You are there and you're viewing a still moment in time, and you remember how human you are in a really weird kind of pretentious way. Let's stop with these kind of liberal arts, woe is me, alas Yorick, whatever you want to call it, and move on to Friday. I wore Parure. It's a slightly greener, slightly more kind of fresh floral version of Mitsuko. There's still very much that, that cold furriness that you get in Mitsuko, but this is very much freshened up. I wouldn't say it's like a Mitsuko, Cologne Mitsuko Sport. It's nothing like that. It's definitely, if they try to revive Mitsuko in the 70s with a kind of green zeitgeist. Yeah, there's very much this center that is green and leafy. Holy shit, it's leafy. No, yeah, it's very floral, it's very Mitsuko-like, but there's a stem, no pun intended, of greenness going through this, which it's great. I honestly still prefer Mitsuko. I don't regret giving it to the family friend. No, I have not. But if you want to send me more decants of Mitsuko, I will not object. Yes, parure is just awesome. And then, what's probably the thumbnail of the video, I don't know yet, is one of the goats of kind of, should we say, sweet masculine perfumery is Pour un homme de Caron by Caron. It's a textured vanilla, which in the open almost makes me think of chocolate, like cacao even. But there's still this liquid, this kind of liquidiness. Liquidiness is not a word. This liquidity, not fluidity, maybe. This runny nature, diluted nature. Nah, that's not the word. Syrupy, that's the word. There's a bit of a syrupy current that makes you say, "Yep, that's vanilla." But there is the texture is most likely from the lavender part of the lavender vanilla lethal combo of Pour un homme de Caron. Overall, it is a very lovely scent and could honestly work in the summer. I really don't get. I don't really get either. Le matin and le soir. The flankers of this Pour un homme. I think this could be a le matin and le soir. Either way, you don't really need the flankers for that. But yes, Pour un homme de Caron, incredible. Smell this if you have not. I'm talking more to the Zoomer audience, which is watching me. The most of you guys, really no offense intended, are in the older demographic. We got millennials watching me, Gen Xers, maybe a boomer or two, I'm not sure. But yeah, it's mostly Gen Xers and some very old millennials watching me. Which again, no offense at all. You guys are awesome. It's just, this is more to my Zoomer crowd. This is not like vintage smelling. It isn't repulsive at all. Just go ahead and smell this. Man, woman, kindergartner, I do not mind or care. Just go ahead, sorry that I'm using the Fracom phrase, get your nose on Pour un homme de Caron. And yes, that, gents and ladies and in-betweeners and withouters, does it for this week's fragrance rotation. I have a P.O. box. If you don't know, you can check the channel description, not the video description, for that address if you want to send me some decants. I'll be more than glad to do so. Maybe even say your name. I have a coffee page if you want to give me money. Not forcing you. I'm not forcing you. This is free content and will be free for as long as I'm alive. Leave a like if you think I'm an awesome influencer, and most importantly, leave a comment. Just tell me which of these you enjoyed. What was your fragrance rotation like? What are you wearing today? If you don't want to post the whole rotation, I want some back and forth here. As much as I enjoy talking about myself to this lovely little scent from my iPhone. What I really want to see is other people talking about what they like, because I need to know that there are people who enjoy the same things that I do, and I can judge them for it. No, sorry, I'm not going to judge you that harshly. I'll see you next week.